I'm Webbo Herbert, and as per usual, we are here every Tuesday evening with something that at least we think is of community interest and or of some concern. And if you think that you have something which fits into that category, you'd like to find out how you can be a part of the program, well, why don't you drop us a line, address it to Let's Talk program in care of Vaughan Radio, P.O. Box 195, Charlestown, New Navy. So you can give us a call. Our numbers are 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. And by the way, those will be the numbers you'll use to be a part of this evening's discussion. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. With regard to your participation in the show, calling the numbers listed 1-869-469-1616 and or 1700. Here's a suggestion. You have a question, comment, perhaps you can get a pencil, piece of paper, write it down so that you're well organized, and when you're getting on the show, you take as little time as possible so that we can accommodate as many of you as we can. We ask only, first of all, you respect yourselves and then respect others, because we will not accept anything we deem that's not within our broadcast standards, but we encourage you to always be forceful with your point. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. You can also follow our live video stream of this program on our YouTube channel, Vaughan Radio. Click subscribe on our Facebook channel, Vaughan Radio. Thank you all again. Your voice in the community, thought that get results. Tonight we have two segments of the show. The first segment, Greg Phillip, among other things, is a playwright, and we'll be talking about one of his plays this evening. It has a lot of things in it, but more so history. If you don't know anything about it, you would have heard something about the persons involved. Greg Phillip, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo. Thank you very much for having me. Listen, you're among the first to officially call me a playwright. I appreciate that.
Well, you know what they say, only the best will do. Yeah, so what else you do? Let's give you a plug here.
All right, well, I'm currently the CEO of Nevis Sun Tours, and we're really a tourism company here in St. Kitts and Nevis. We take care of people when they come to St. Kitts and Nevis, not just with tours, but also with arranging logistics, etc. for them.
And before that, you did other things. Some folks are going to say, Greg Phillip, is that the Greg Phillip who what?
I was a banker once upon a time, Webbo. And then more recently, I was the CEO of the Nevis Tourism Authority.
Right, and under your watch at that time, they started the...
Oh, the Mango Festival.
Okay.
Well, yes.
But why are you afraid to say all that?
No, it's not a matter of being afraid to say.
You don't want. It's just that you don't want to say it.
I'm not afraid. Let me put it that way. It's something that is part of the past now. But yes, I was the pioneer of the Mango Festival.
Okay, so that's kind of why I didn't want to say it, because it's like of the past.
Yeah, we're looking forward.
Work with me.
I am completely working with you, but let me say this.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that I'm not proud. I'm happy that I was able to make a mark with that, and definitely happy to see it still going and thriving. But as I said, I mean, it's time to look forward.
Right. So now I'll get my turn now
Okay,
to say what I was going to say in the follow-up.
All right.
So that's in the past. Notwithstanding, for the rest of the time, that's where we're going.
Ah, excellent. I like that. History.
Okay, so having said and done all that, so tell us about the play.
So the place called The Trial of Hamilton and Nelson. And it was particularly important for me to do this from a few perspectives. I mean, first of all, it's from the perspective of it being a tourism product, and a tourism product that is, I think, consequential, mainly because of the fact that Alexander Hamilton and Horatio Nelson have been traveling through our history and culture here on the island of Nevis, and by extension St. Kitts and Nevis, for a very long time, we know certain things about them, but we do not know everything about them. And the things we know about them over the years are things that most of us have just accepted. And then beyond that, some of us, while we might not have just accepted them, we have many things to say about them. And oftentimes the things we say about Alexander Hamilton and Nelson are not necessarily things that show that we are perhaps completely pleased with them. We may say things that perhaps show that we do not, we're not either comfortable or satisfied with the role and the place that they hold in the history of the island of Nevis.
What if, Greg, we were to, for those who are very young, who may not have studied that part of history,
yes,
and we obviously started now and going forward, we'll be talking about the both of them and in the play and all that.
yes,
What if we were to get maybe a line or two about each,
okay,
in terms of, what history has written?
Yes.
Yeah.
and so history tells us that Alexander Hamilton was born here. Let's begin with him because he's likely the one that most people would be familiar with. History tells us that Alexander Hamilton was born here on the island of Nevis, right downtown in the area there that is known to be the Alexander Hamilton Museum. On that spot, that's his birthplace, according to what our history says. So we're comfortable knowing that. Hamilton left Nevis and eventually ended up in America and is now firmly established as perhaps the most important founding father of the United States of America. And in recent years, he's become extremely popular because of the play Hamilton, which is a musical on Broadway. I think now fully established as the most successful musical on Broadway. Now, Nelson, Lord Horatio Nelson, Nelson wasn't born here. Nelson got married here on Nevis, and that forever has been his solid connection to the island of Nevis. There is also a Horatio Nelson Museum here on Nevis. The place of his marriage, where he actually got married, is still there up at Montpellier, and also we also know that his original marriage certificate is here at the St. John's Anglican Church. St. John's Anglican Church, Fig Tree. So those are the things that I can say about them that would help to bring them to the forefront of the memories of people.
Okay, and so now we have these two men of note, and we're doing a play. We did it already, and we're going to be encouraging folks to check it out.
Indeed.
So what will they see, in brief?
In brief, what they're going to see is a trial. As the name of the play states, it's the trial of Hamilton and Nelson. And the reason it's a trial is because, well, first of all, it's an opportunity for us to actually interact with history. History, I think, shouldn't just be a passive thing. And this play is written in such a way where it gives people a chance to come out and actually interact with our history in a way that says that I hear it, and these two men are on trial for certain things that they have done in our history, and I'm having my say.
So the natural thing, they've been charged.
Indeed.
And so the natural thing, and if you don't want to reveal it until I come and check it at the play,
right?
You don't. But the natural question would be, and trial for what? Of course, you just said certain things.
Right.
So, I bet it would not be, for instance, with Nelson, it would not be on trial for getting married in Nevis.
No.
Okay. So,
and I'm 100% comfortable telling you what the charges are.
Oh well, let's do that.
Okay, good. So there are 4 charges, and these charges really spring from and are inspired, I should say, by a few things that that Nelson and Hamilton have in common in their lives. First of all, they have Nevis in common. In addition to that, both of these men were fighting in wars during their time. There's some things they had in relation to their relationships that we have to explore, and they had what I'll call complicated relationships with slavery. That is definitely something that we must explore. So the charges related to those are, firstly, they are on trial for their sentimental connection or their emotional connection to the island of Nevis. And in that charge, even before you show up, I can tell you that their lawyers, and that's who's on stage. Hamilton and Nelson are dead, so you will not see them in this play. Their lawyers are on stage, and their lawyers are advocating for them. And in both cases, they're basically advocating for them to be found guilty of still being connected to Nevis. And then, charge number 2 is for their involvement in wars for revolution and empire expansion. We know history has already told us that Alexander Hamilton was in America, what is today America, fighting against the British in the Revolutionary War. The Revolutionary War is the war for American independence from England. And then we also know that Nelson's career was as a Navy man, a military guy, sailing around the world, effectively helping to protect trade routes for Britain, helping to expand the British Empire. So both of them are on trial for that. And then the third charge is for scandalous behavior and breach of marital vows. And that's an interesting one that we have to deal with in a very special way. And then the last charge number 4, is for their involvement in slavery, their complicity in support of the institution of slavery, and by far that is the heaviest charge.
These, I don't know, but almost sound to me like general charges. Are they connected to, or is there any particular charge specific to what did you do or not do to Nevis?
I like that one. That specific question, because the answer is really yes. I mean, first of all, yes, their involvement and connection to Nevis, for example. Once you show up, you'll realize that the lawyers are making some very, very strong arguments. And I'll tell you one thing, Webbo. As I was writing this initially, I thought that if you're American and you love Hamilton, you'll probably just say that Hamilton is not guilty. And if you're British, you'll say that, well, Nelson is either guilty or not guilty, depending on which way you're voting. You may love him more than you love Hamilton, but the way the story took me in the writing, it really meant that I had to present this in a way that was as close to a real courtroom as possible. And in doing so, it gave a chance to make some very, very strong arguments on both sides.
You have connected both to different nations. Hamilton to the United States.
Yes.
Nelson to Britain.
Yes.
They're both on trial. Did they interact? Did their paths cross?
No. We do not have any historical evidence whatsoever that these two men ever met each other. It's possible that they heard about each other, because I can tell you, if media back then was like media today, you'll turn on the evening news and both of them would be in news at the same time, because they were both active at the same time. They were in fact born 1 year apart, and they also died 1 year apart in very similar violent circumstances, I'll say.
But did history tell us, recorded history tell us, the period of time, for instance, that Nelson was around here, and the period of time that Hamilton was around here?
Yes, we know that Nelson was around here in the late 1780s. He got married here in 1787. Now, Hamilton would have been born here in 1757. And yes, there's discussions that some people may have about that and say no, it was 1755. Well, I use 1757, and I have clear reasons why I use 1757. So, thinking of that, you'll then know that Hamilton, if he left Nevis at about 9 years old, he would have left Nevis in 1766, which would have been well before Nelson showed up here. So their paths would not have crossed. And let me ask you a question. Are you asking this because you're wondering why are they on trial together?
That is not really allowed in this court, but the questions normally come from over here. But the question is what?
Is it that you're wondering why are they on trial at the same time, on the same charges, if they haven't met each other?
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, the other reason will be that you have captivated me,
yes,
and you have stirred my interest already in the play.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that it has done the same thing for the audience that's listening, and they would check it out.
Well,
that's when.
That's the plan.
Right, and that's when.
The next plan, this one coming up on the 29th of August, Saturday 29th August, starts 6 o'clock at the Malcolm Gishar Park, inside the building. We are terming that as the season opener, because this season of the play actually has 13 different performances that's going to take us all the way into next year, July.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked. It seems like I'll have to answer the question I asked. This is an interesting quote. so
that is because for over 3 decades now, a person is not accustomed to something that I probably even have to ask what's the question again, because I'm not accustomed to taking questions. I would more like to ask them, but I answered the question.
Okay.
I said I asked a question because the discussion so far and the information already imparted by you,
yes,
has piqued my interest in checking it out.
Right.
So before I get there, I was just trying to preview as much as I can.
Okay. Okay, I can give you a little bit more, and
Yes.
let me say this. First of all, Hamilton and Nelson are on trial, I think, because they deserve to be. All these things they are charged with are things that history already told us that they are guilty of. We know that they did these things. So this is an opportunity for there to be a reckoning. Yes, it's after their death, and they're dead. And do not show up to see the play and expect to see them on stage because they're dead. Who's on stage are their lawyers. It's a modern day court of history. So the people on stage are people representing them in their capacities as their advocates.
Greg, the other important thing I'd like to know is Nelson and Hamilton. In our contemporary times, we seem to hear more about Hamilton.
Yes.
And you had indicated there's a statue of him down at thing. So I remember many years ago I saw someone wearing a T-shirt. Inscribed on it was, Alexander Hamilton was born on Nevis. So was I.
Yes.
So you have this great American statesman, and he was born in Nevis,
Yes.
and we elevate that, highlight that. So what if someone were to ask, so Alexander Hamilton was born in Nevis, so what?
I love that. and that is exactly what this play is about. Anyone who's asking that question is the type of person who needs to be in the audience at this play, because those are the things that we explore. First of all, asking the question. Over the years, I've heard questions along those lines, especially at the time the statue went up downtown. As a matter of fact, this past July made 4 years since then. And if we want to think back to the international news 4 years ago, that was around the same time when people were tearing down statues around the world, because we felt that many people around the world felt that all these statues are up as celebrating people who were involved in slavery, for example, and didn't do great things. And I remember specifically hearing people here who are associated with Nevis ask the question, why are we putting up a statue of someone like him when across the world everyone's taking them down? It's a beautiful question. I like questions like that because it says exactly what we're supposed to do. We shouldn't just take history for what it is. We have to begin to interact with our history, and this play is a perfect vehicle for that. People have asked the question, well, what did Hamilton do for Nevis? Hamilton left Nevis and never came back. Well, I say one thing to that. If I left Nevis around that time, I probably wouldn't come back. I remember going to Australia in 2010 and I almost didn't come back because it's just so far away, the trip. But the reality is, with Alexander Hamilton and anyone asking questions like those, they are appropriate questions because we must begin to interact with our history and ask the hard questions.
But this is some great introspection.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it that, could it be that we have, and when I say we,
mm-hmm.
I'm talking about current generations.
Yes.
I've done a poor job in exacting what we can or should from that part of history. Let me give you an example.
Okay, go ahead.
Currently, you have the United States
Mm-hmm.
that for varied reasons will impose certain sanctions,
Tariffs.
tariffs, maybe different things, on the islands.
Yes.
But they wouldn't do that to a state which comprises United States, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And that in part will be because of the value and the connectivity for being a part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So notwithstanding physically, you are not joined,
Right.
because not every territory of the United States is joined physically.
Mm-hmm.
So my question is, what if we were able to do a better job through the generations
Mm-hmm.
to now be better connected to the United States as a consequence of Alexander Hamilton?
So the question, when I listen to this question, Webbo, one thing crossed my mind. It's really about belonging, and who really belong where. Who belongs where? You spoke about a T-shirt. I remember as a teenager, I had a red T-shirt that said Alexander Hamilton and I are 100% Nevisians. That is true. But then there is this. Hamilton left Nevis and went to America. Hamilton, and once you show up to the play, you're going to realize that part of the argument that his lawyer makes is that Hamilton never abandoned Nevis. People in America, his political rivals, as a matter of fact, they mocked him about coming from a place like Nevis. They call him a West Indian interloper. They call him a Creole bastard. But Hamilton, there is no evidence that Hamilton ever denied where he came from, abandoned Nevis. So we have to think about that. There are other things. We all know the law in America that says that you have to be born in America in order to be considered for the presidency of America. It's always been said that that law was created specifically to prevent a man like Alexander Hamilton being born on Nevis from actually having a chance to become president of the United States. It was about the politics. But then, Webber, there's also this. Hamilton. When Hamilton was born here on Nevis in 1757, and this is my contention, why in the world was Hamilton even considered to be an immigrant in America? When he's born here in 1757, he is subject to the same king as everybody living in the colonies, which are now considered America. If you're born in a place with the same leader, under the same leader, how can you be termed being from another country? It's the politics of things, but it shows you what he had to deal with being someone who was actually born in a place like Nevis.
And you see, now this takes us into the second segment, because this play now has gone deeper than just the surface.
Oh, exactly. It deals with some very tough modern day themes.
Right. So, tell us a little bit more about who we'll see at the play. And again, when the play will be, when is the season opener?
Yes.
And then we will add 2 more persons to the panel.
Okay.
And we will discuss it a little more.
All right. Good.
Yeah, so when is this season open?
The season opener is...
I know that, for instance, you got a cast.
Oh, yeah.
You can let us know a little bit about that.
Good.
So that, the folks can expect to see some great acting.
Yes. Well, the season opener is on August 29th. That's Saturday, August 29th, 6 p.m. Purchase your tickets online at nevisontours.com. You can also get tickets at the Alexander Hamilton Museum. Tickets are also available at Beaujeu's downtown. So the question then about the play itself. Once you show up for the play, the one thing that I can tell you is that the cast is made up of Nevisians, local people, and you're getting to see some great local acting, because what we do with this play is really present here on Nevis an opportunity for our people to be on display with their talents, number one. But number two, very, very importantly, once you show up and you're in the audience, you're actually the jury. Even though I have produced and written this play, I have no clue how it ends. In fact, no one knows how it ends until it ends, because after each charge, the jury, the audience members get to vote and decide who is more guilty.
Okay, let me get a quick break. We will add a couple more members in the discussion, and a little later on we will add you, the listener. If you at this point would like to make a comment, you like to ask a question, you like to commend Mr. Phillip for the great intrigue he has provided so far with this play. We'll be back right after these.
You're listening to Vaughn Radio from the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis.
Hey, builders, homeowners, contractors, listen up! When it comes to building smart and saving big, there's only one place to start. Builders Paradise. Everyday low prices. 20% off all day, every day. That's right. At Builders Paradise, you get everyday low prices. Not sometimes, not special days, but all day, every day. From doors and windows, paints and tiles, plumbing and electrical fixtures. Everything you need to build, upgrade, or renovate. So when you're building up and saving smart, start right from the very beginning. Builders Paradise, 20% off all day, every day. Where you're shopping, Builders Paradise. While you're saving, everyday low prices. Builders Paradise, everyday low prices, 20% off all day, every day. Builders Paradise, saving sweet all day, every day.
Everyday low prices.
back in this episode of Thought That Get Results. Greg Phillip is a playwright. The Trial of Hamilton and Nelson, is that the correct title?
Yes, you're correct, sir.
And that's happening next on the 29th?
Yes.
At
Malcolm Gishal Park.
That's the season opener.
Season opener.
And many more productions after that.
Indeed.
Okay, now let me just add, the Honorable Spencer Brand, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and a very pleasant good evening to my fellow panelists, and an exceptionally good evening to my good friend, Greg Phillip. I want to start by congratulating Greg for what I'm anticipating to be a wonderful, wonderful production. I know that this is something that you've been putting a lot of time and effort into.
Yes.
For some time.
Yes.
So
you see me quite often.
Yes. I've seen you quite often, and I know some of the things that you are trying to do. But I really want to congratulate you. I think that to put these two gentlemen on the same stage, so to speak, and I like the title, The Trial of Hamilton and
Nelson.
Lord Nelson. It's an interesting mix, and I think that while both men would have done things differently, I believe that both of them would have laid a remarkable foundation for, let's be real, for global modern day trade, business, interaction, and how we are doing things today. So I want to congratulate you. I certainly want to wish the production all the success. And I don't think that this would be a one-off thing. I believe that there will be much more to follow. So I want to congratulate you, and I certainly want to wish the production. I know it's going to be a team effort.
Yes.
So I want to wish the entire team all the very best, and it's something to look forward to.
Yes.
Something to look forward to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Conrad Niall Liebert, good evening.
Good evening, Webbo, and good evening to my colleagues, Mr. Brand and Mr. Phillip. And as Mr. Brand says, especially Mr. Phillip, I know Mr. Phillip as a marketing professional. I don't know him as a playwright. I know him as very, very good at marketing, things like that, but I suppose this is a product of that profession. And I also want to congratulate you in doing what you're doing, because it's almost something I've been questioning recently. You know, I was thinking and talking about drama, dramatic presentation, sketches, plays, and it looks like you have filled that gap to a certain extent. You know, I think it's a great idea. These two gentlemen major in global history, I must say, and there is so much unanswered question from the local point of view. You know, historic, there are serious historic relevance, but also in our everyday life, we tend to ask some questions about these two gentlemen. I know in Trafalgar Square in London, there's a massive statue of Lord Nelson riding on a horse. And when I used to live there, I used to really say, well, this guy must be a big figure in British history, to have that statue in the center of London, in Trafalgar Square. I don't know much more than the fact that he was some kind of British admiral coming down here, and he used to water his ships, and he had married to someone here on Ireland. I am not even sure if his wife was Nivision or what, but it generally poses the question about both individual as it relates to what they have done or could have done, and what they can still do for Nevis. And so I think you have taken up quite a challenge, and I hope it turned out well. I understand that this is an opening session, and I'm not sure if I misunderstood. Are we going to see more of this this very same play going into the future? You mentioned until next year sometime.
Yes.
Is it the same, almost like a series?
It is. It is the same play, but listening to you, you see why it deserves to have a series, because there are so many questions.
A lot of unanswered questions.
Not just unanswered questions, opportunities for us to interact and explore our history in ways that we've never done it before. History for us has always been something very passive.
And what is, I might interject here, and I like where you're going with that, and what is the importance of history to us and this history?
Right. Now, I often tell people this. When we look at our history, the feelings we have, if we feel sad, embrace it. If we're happy about something, embrace it. If we're upset about something, embrace it, because the moment we choose not to accept the way our history makes us feel, it's the moment we cheat ourselves out of the true effect that history should have on us. And I say this to say that with this production, this theatrical production, this is an opportunity for us to do just that. You listen to the charges that I mentioned. They're sentimental and emotional connection to Nevis. Both of these men, according to their lawyers, as they argue the case, want them to be connected to Nevis. And it brings up the modern themes. Who really belongs where? Who's from where?
And that's exactly where the debate is now. Who belongs where? And does it matter?
Yeah. That's a question from the court.
Indeed.
Okay.
Because that can be a very central part of the debate.
Yes.
And as to even in this current time.
Yeah. And I'll say this. It does matter where you are considered to be from. It does matter where you're considered to belong. Isn't that what life is about in many cases, that people want to belong from somewhere? That's why you have a passport. That's why you have citizenship. You want to belong
really?
From somewhere. Yeah, people want to belong. So one second. Let me just say this, specific to the trial. And I don't want to give away too much, but I think that it's important for me to say something. There is a particular line that is delivered by the advocate for Nelson, and he says this: birth is an accident, love is a decision. And he's making this point, that basically saying that Hamilton was born here, so what? Doesn't mean that he's the one who's connected to Nevis. He had nothing to do with where he was born. But Nelson had everything to do with him being here, because he chose to be here.
And
now,
what
do we believe that in our modern day times? That's the question.
And then I would then ask, and in the sequel,
yes,
and then what happens when you add now Naya, who presents a case, right, and says, but I brought silver and gold, so now who has the most rights? Are you, as Edward W. Stanley would say, are you following me?
I'm following you. I'm sure that Naya is following you too.
No, it's
Yeah, we're drifting
it's
off into a lot of
intriguing.
stuff, Webbo.
We're not drifting
No,
off.
we're not drifting. I mean,
That is the essence of the discussion
Yes.
that you're having. Because I asked a
so-
question earlier, and Mr. Phillip said he liked that. When he said, "So, does it matter?" Right, and that is part of the debate. For some persons, it does matter.
No, and it's a modern day theme.
Yeah.
Well, but I just wanted to go back to something Greg said, that Lord Nelson chose to be here. I think that when we put that in context, we recognize that while he may have chosen to be here, perhaps he was also mandated to be here in the entire expansion of quote unquote the British Empire.
Yes.
And history would have taught us that he was one of those individuals who did some quote unquote remarkable work in the entire expansion of the British Empire. So we can argue whether or not it was his choice, or whether or not he was mandated, perhaps because he was the best at what he was doing.
Can I tell you?
And then, Mr. Brand,
Yeah.
I'm going to now interject in the along the theme that you're making, that and I think Mr. Phillip had indicated it in terms of the play as well, and some of the things they've been accused of, and one of it was slavery, which the contemporary people now looking back are not too pleased with that. They may argue it was a necessary evil, right? So when you're going to now make that point about expanding the British Empire, and then I don't know how the play goes, but then the rights and so on, if I'm arguing a case, that's where my argument will now go.
Absolutely.
And that aspect, right?
Slavery. So the fourth charge that we deal with is exactly that. It's about their complicity in support of the institution of slavery. Now, in a certain way, based on how the story is presented and how it's written, is that both of these guys are now co-conspirators, and they're on trial simultaneously, facing the same charges because of their connection to these four things they're charged with. So when it comes to slavery, that chapter in our lives is not closed, and it's not going to be closed anytime soon.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the reasons I said this play is written in such a way that, yes, it invites us to really interact and immerse ourselves in our history, but at the same time, in our modern day times, it brings us face to face with some things that we must grapple with, like slavery, like, yes, reparations. And when I think about slavery, and even whether or not these two men were actually involved in slavery, did they do all that they could have done? Those who say that they were abolitionists, did they do all that they could have done to end it? Or were they truly complicit in terms of helping it to flourish?
But what if I argue, Mr. Phillip, that at the time, as I had mentioned the term, a necessary evil,
Yes.
and they would not have been able to advance themselves 300 and 400 years to know that you and I would exist and have the education to now question and debate. And I'll tell you something which you got to really think hard about. So 400 years later, you and I are questioning whether or not this thing could not have been done better. What if we do some things now
Yeah.
that 200 years later, those generations are going to ask, why did we do those things? And could we not have done better?
Well, it's not a matter of what if. It's the fact. The fact is that we are doing some things now that generations in the future are going to ask about.
Yeah, but
I mean, when
not walk with me. Not everybody can say that, you know.
No, but the fact that they can't say it doesn't mean that it will not need to be said. When your great grandchildren are boarding Elon Musk's last rocket to Mars because we have messed up the Earth, they're going to be saying some things about us that no one thought about back then. But the reality is, let's bring it back to slavery. As bad as slavery is, sadly, it was the norm at one point. And the fact that it was the norm at one point does not mean that we should sit here today and say that, well, we accept it. There's nothing there for us to accept as normal in the times, therefore it's okay. There is nothing there that I can be comfortable with, because those things that happened to our ancestors were legitimate crimes. The kidnapping,
But Mr. Phillip,
the trafficking.
what if you get so embroiled and consumed
Yes.
in what happened then, and you lose sight and focus of what's happening now?
Okay. Well,
Not that you
gentlemen,
can't.
I've been told I can't ask questions in this court. Can one of you? I just wanted to know what is happening now.
Hello, walk with me. You can ask questions, but you can ask questions of the panel.
Okay.
And you have a panel with you now.
Well, Mr. Brand, Mr. Lyman, what is happening now? since I can't ask the question the other direction.
No, we got to be mindful, really, because all these things is to me.
What I mean in what is happening now, I'm talking about our way of life and the responsibilities and the decisions that we have, so that we must be cognizant that it will be viewed as we normally would say in speeches, that we leave something for the people who that they'll be proud of. That's what. Yeah, Naya, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
You know, Webbo, we are touching on some very, very sensitive things here, I suppose, because...
And what, that's making you nervous?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, because there is an argument right now, and I think a member of the British Parliament have come forward and defend the slavery, to say that instead of they paying us reparation, we supposed to be paying them for improving our situation by taking us out of this dark continent called Africa and bringing us down here and make something of our lives in terms of putting us on an island and develop what we have developed here and so forth. And that is I think they had some global comments on that, and Prime Minister of Barbados had a lot to say on that, about this particular British parliamentarian. And in fact, she is of Indian.
But you didn't see the play with that comment. That fit. You didn't see the play with that comment.
Yes, yes.
Because that fits under the program last week. We were talking about culture,
Yes.
and caller used an analogy, and he spoke about cricket and what the coaches teach you. And one of the things the coaches teach you is the ability to leave certain balls alone outside the off stump. And in the cricket analogy, they were having a robust debate for years about his reparations and so on. And along comes this comment, which should have been treated as one of those balls outside the off stump, but they were effective to then get it.
Sometimes
The essence of genius.
Sometimes you attempt to leave a ball outside
And it
the
goes
outside, and it pitches back in. You know.
But that's the idea of the practice and the coaching. You know what you're supposed to know, what balls to leave outside the off stump.
Okay.
That's the issue.
Okay.
right? Because what you will find, I bet you that don't take much root. And then the debate, which was ongoing, will continue.
Well, Webbo, I'm not sure how much root that will
Well,
take.
we will see.
But we are perhaps now dealing with similar situations in a sense, as it relates to what the lady was talking about, because we see investors coming today to help us, to improve us according to what they are saying. And if we don't make the right decision, 200 years from now, we'll be looking back at that bad decision we make that put us in a worse situation. And they would be arguing that they actually improve our life, but they probably put us back into circumstances similar to slavery and so forth. So it's a very deep area, really. And yes, of course, you know, because investors are showing up as our people are showing up as investors when they are really claiming what they think they have.
Hence why I make the point, Naya,
what
that
they think they have down here.
While it is important to go back and fight that cause, history, and the slavery, we have to see how much of our resources we put on that, while the effort that we have to check what is
happening
now don't pass us by. So while we are looking at that and trying to correct what happened 400 years ago, you can walk and chew gum at the same time. So you can't lose focus and not check what's happening now. And hence again, when Mr. Phillip started out and he would start talking about the connectivity, you see, it's very important. Mr. Brand.
Yeah, Webbo, I wanted to perhaps shift a little bit to Hamilton. Because I think that the role of Hamilton, as I believe he was the first
Treasury
Secretary, and the mechanisms that he would have put in place back in 17...
Yeah. 1780
something.
1780, 1790.
Right? Is still managing and is still controlling the global financial structure today. Webbo and all of us are speaking about history, what we are doing now and what will take place in the future, the legacy and so on that we will leave behind. When I look at the role of Hamilton in terms of shaping the global financial situation, and even in today, right, all of these hundreds of years, we are still being managed, so to speak, and governed by those kind of principles. Webbo was speaking earlier about the situation that we now have, about where people came from and are they where they should be, and so on. And I think that we are now living in a situation where many countries are now trying to pivot, so to speak, and as brutal as it is, trying to remove a lot of people from a lot of these countries, as we call it now, sending them back home, repatriate them, putting them in these camps and deporting them and so on and so forth. And the impact that is happening. When you take that and parallel that to what happened in slavery and the impact of slavery, it was slightly different. We remove an entire civilization from one continent. And even after 500 years, 600 years, 700 years, that continent is still feeling the effects and the impact of that slave trade. So back to what Naya spoke about from the statement by the MP in
England.
I agree with Webbo. That should have been a ball left outside the half stump and leave that alone.
So what happens, Mr. Brand, now, you made a very impactful point there to me. when you said you remove an entire civilization.
It was a civilization.
Right, and put it in another place.
Yeah.
Right? So we got to be careful now that we don't bring another civilization and replace this a civilization with that civilization. You agree with what are you laughing for now?
Not that serious thing you talk.
The serious thing, man. But I don't normally talk serious things.
All the time.
I is a serious hombre. Yes, Mr. Phillip.
So, let me say something in relation to what Mr. Brand was saying. Not to stray too far from the point that you just made, but Hamilton and what Hamilton created, and it's whether it even goes back to what you were saying earlier in the first segment, that questioning, well, should Hamilton be considered a division, and should we be proud? And my answer is yes, we should be proud. The knowledge that Hamilton had as to why he was able to do all those things
And create the structure.
Yes. Where do you think that came from? It originated right here.
On Finney's Beach.
Well, not just Finney's Beach. It originated right here. We passed the Jewish cemetery.
Right, but then you see what you come down to now, Mr. Phillip, is this. The reason why you're laying claim to Hamilton, and we should be proud of it,
Yeah.
is because you're arguing, are you not, that he was born right here.
Yes, he was born here, but the question as to whether or not that is something that we should hold dear,
Right.
and be proud of, is not just a matter, in my view. It's not just a matter of his place of birth. We have to think about what did he do, and there's a number of things that it's easy for us to dismiss. When you think about the fact that America has one single currency, and so many countries around the world now have one single currency. No matter where you go in this world, if you have a US dollar, someone knows what it is and there's an assigned value to it. Why?
Right.
It's Hamilton.
And I asked a question earlier as well in the first segment, whether or not it is we who are not capitalizing on what they have done, or what, are we not capitalizing on our assets?
With a play like this is one way in which we're capitalizing on it. And when people ask me, what did Alexander Hamilton do for Nevis? I say, my answer always is, Alexander Hamilton is dead. Whatever Alexander Hamilton does for Nevis now depends on us and what we do cause his memory to do to benefit us.
Capitalizing on our assets. And I think, I don't know, Mr. Brand, whether or not something has not been so instantly impactful on me that you have said over the years that you've been on this program, when you said moving one civilization to another place. And I don't know if you have realized how powerful that statement is that you said, at least in my view.
But I think the reality is that basically was what the slave trade was. It was, and the physical. I think we are probably maybe straying a little bit here, but it's all right.
Well, we need to stray because you see that statement is not subjected to the slave trade.
Right.
That thing is a global point that you made. Taking one civilization, for instance, if there's an island called Redonda, and it's civilized by the 6 of us, 2, 4, 5 of us who are here right now, right? And then 50 years later, 100 people come and take that over. 100, last time I checked, is greater than 5. That fits under the statement that you made, You agree with that?
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
So that's why that thing is so powerful. And with credit, I'm going to use that thing a lot going forward. You know what that means? I'll give you credit.
If I can, listen, man, 1 second. Sorry. If I was Kalinago and Arawak or Carib, as our history tells, and I wrote this play, you know, it would have been different, but yet dealing with the same themes.
Yes, coming from a different perspective.
Yeah, and that's my point, Webbo, that civilizations
On in the United States.
exactly.
That's why the thing is so.
Civilizations come and dominate others.
Yeah, that's
And
why
before-
the thing is
before
so
you know it.
important. Yeah.
Some are no more, or some have been diminished to the point where you have to wonder, well, where is their impact?
Gentlemen, you know, at this point I want to say something. I want to give you kudos to have been engaged in the last 15-20 minutes or so in a conversation that only people of courage can have publicly. And you know, not many people can say what I just said.
Because you're a courageous man.
Oh yeah, I'm not afraid.
No, I think the islands are subjected to, you know, certain threats. Because the islands are beautiful, the islands are small, and you wonder who really belongs to these islands at the end of the day. Yeah, we were brought here as slaves, but the people who have brought us here seems to still have some kind of claim in some way or the other.
But it will always happen, Naya. It is how human nature is. And if you know our history since slavery, the people who led the islands and so on, they had to have a lot of courage. Like Mr. Brand said, the things that Alexander Hamilton put in place still hold the United States together up to this day.
Yep.
And so these things that these persons who were leading put in place, they had to be courageous and bold, right? Because they were fighting against great forces. In the days when, you know, the King Arrow from St. Kitts have a song, when the late Robert Bratcher had, you know, taken the lands, the sugar lands, right? And the people who he took them from were Europeans, and they had the monies and everything. But in his view, and with Bird and those fellas who in the islands, right? We didn't have the money, but these things belong to us.
Yes.
And they put something, for instance, anybody knows about the alien land holding license?
Yes.
Anybody knows how powerful that thing was and held us today?
Yes.
And everybody knows the threat that is under?
Yes.
And as a consequence, how the islands could be disintegrated.
Yeah.
Yes.
And one settlement could move from one place and take over another place.
Yes.
Credit to Mr. Brand. You see what I'm saying? This thing
It's deep.
This is what I'm saying, right? And again, that's why I commend you, because I hear this discussion all the time, but it does not come in public.
Yeah. No, and it clearly has a lot to do with things like migration. And that's why I said that the play itself brings some modern themes to the fore, that when you're in the audience and you have to make your decisions after hearing the arguments, you really have to grapple with some serious issues and decide, well, who really belongs to Nevis? Is it Hamilton and his circumstances? It is Nelson and his circumstances? And you have to think even about modern day times. People leave and people come back. People leave and others come. And whose is Nevis? And that's the key thing. We in our modern day times now we have different words. It's about, some people hear them say migration. You hear them talk about immigrants and immigration and people moving about. Those are things that in our modern day time we grapple with.
But you see, what then we ought to do is to understand when we have systems and structures that can last the test of time, as Mr. Brandt pointed out, right? The alien land holding license that I referred to, if you study it, you would understand what it did that held the islands in terms of ownership, right?
Yes.
And then study what has happened to it or is happening to it, and then you can get maybe a different picture.
Yeah, but if I'm understanding where you're going, what has happened to it? Isn't it, at the end of the day, isn't it, whatever has happened to it has happened because of who is deemed to be a Kittian or an individual?
It's defeated by the sale of passports.
No,
To a great
well,
extent.
well,
Isn't
no,
that,
can
isn't
be
that
made
it with
ineffective.
the themes that we're talking
be
about
made-
and have to grapple with?
no,
that,
you
don't
see,
we? And
here's what I think, is that I made that point, and it's almost like sometimes you, just like you did the play, Mr. Phillip, and they now have to debate this thing
yes.
and then put the pros and cons, and then at the end of the day hear what the jury says.
Yes.
So maybe we're looking at the next sequel.
Well, the debate will be made at the play, and the jury will have its say. And as the judge says, where there is guilt, punishment must follow, which is another reason why you must show up, because you need to see how we punish these two dead men.
Right. I don't want people to lose sight of that. But also, we're in a situation in the Caribbean where we are now debating. I think I heard Didicus Jules today, the chief at the OECS, and they were speaking about certain programs they're putting in place as in terms of an OECS identity. We've been talking about CARICOM, and then we bring it a little later down to OECS and so on. And then the famous one from
10 Leave Now.
10 Leaves Not and stuff like that. So it's not that we haven't been here before with what we are saying now. And until and unless we make solid, concrete things, right, that can stand the test of time, and as they normally say, and the weather, right, we are at a critical crossroads,
But back to the two personalities in the play. It's kind of ironical that one, Mr. Nelson, working to advance the British Empire, yeah, and one, Mr. Hamilton. Where does he stand? He is in some way fighting against the British Empire, to break away from the British Empire.
Exactly.
Yes.
But so they have two different forces acting upon. But both of them seems to have that commonality as it relates to slavery. Okay? Because Hamilton in America,
Yeah.
well, I'm not too sure
Go ahead.
about his stand on slavery. But it's one is advancing the British Empire, and of course he must give a nod to slavery, you
Right.
know.
So
And Hamilton now is want to break
Break away.
with the British Empire.
But-
right.
How does he feel about it?
But how do you answer the argument of the necessary evil? Because have anyone heard the term currently modern day slavery?
yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Okay. and they describe that by using a lot of things.
Yes.
And you might even hear people argue that even the manual work that they do, if you think this is slavery,
Yeah.
you see what I'm saying? So, in the opinion of myself then, who have a business, and I hire a few people, and I pay them $100 or $30. 100 years down the road, those kids begin to look at this history and said, what you mean to tell me they only paid these guys? Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's why I said that when we think about history, we must keep history in its context.
Context.
In 100 years down the road, inflation has happened.
Right.
100 years down the road, the value of certain things have changed, and because of those changes, we have to give consideration to things in their context. And
Hence the question then, was it a necessary evil?
slavery?
Yes.
No.
But
And-
in context, as you're saying, when you had a fellow with a plantation, how else was he going to get labor in those days?
Hire people and pay them. and
But the
because-
thing was to make as immense a margin of
but-
profit
but-
as you can, no?
Yes, but see, the thing is, and we must not lose track of this, and this too is tackled in play, that we must consider this, that slavery was not just an economic system. We can think of the economics of things, but slavery wasn't an economic system. Do we understand what happened with the transatlantic slave trade? We read about slavery in the Bible and in other historic texts. Slavery back then was not the type of slavery that we're talking about on this side of the world as a result of transatlantic slave trade.
But in the context, Greg, the people who are experiencing certain things now, in their view, this thing is unreal.
What is
This
unreal?
what a person may be
What
experiencing.
you call modern day slavery?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So one may say, no. When you look back at it, no man, that was harsh, getting beat like so and so forth.
it was harsh.
Right.
Criminal.
Now, what we do now to extract profits from people, 100 years down the road, people use machines and stuff like that, technology to do it.
Yeah.
So those people who cannot reconcile with that are going to say, no man, those people who did those things, there should be.
Yes, and it's just the nature of as the world turns.
So that's
what happens. But when we talk about slavery, and really in the context of the arguments in the play, you were asking earlier, Webbo, about where Hamilton and Nelson really came down on this thing. In Nelson's case, we don't have any evidence that I know of historically that says that Nelson benefited from slavery in that way. Some would say that there is no evidence that Hamilton himself benefited from slavery either. And in fact, if you read the biography of Alexander Hamilton, you'll see that it seems like Hamilton was in fact this great abolitionist. But then there's these questions, and the statue downtown, you mentioned it earlier. 4 years ago when that statue entered, there were so many historians and Hamilton experts here. And I made it a point to go to every single one of the ceremonies that they had before the unveiling of the statue because I had questions for them. One of my questions was, around that time, as a matter of fact, it came out in 2020. I came across an article in the Smithsonian magazine that spoke about Hamilton's complicated relationship with slavery. And it mentioned the fact that Alexander Hamilton, here he was, historian in America was doing research, and she went going through his cash book. This is where he keeps his financial records. And as she's going through this, she finds a receipt for a black lady named Peggy. And the receipt is signed by Alexander Hamilton himself. And all of a sudden, her world is upside down, because Hamilton is known to be the only founding father, one of the only founding fathers in America who was not involved in slavery. If he was not, then why is there this evidence that exists to the contrary? And that raises significant questions. And I spoke to many of these historians, and none of them would say that Hamilton was involved in slavery, even though it seems that there is evidence. And though these are the sort of things that we tackle in this play, why these two men have to be on trial, because we must ask these questions. We hold them up as abolitionists, but the question is, were they really? And as I say, it's not for me to say, it is for you as audience members who would be the jury to listen to the arguments and decide, he was involved, he wasn't involved.
Right, but a lot of the people who were abolitionists were at one time involved.
Yeah.
And so
Yes.
you know, because you might just like
They
in the
had to wake
Bible,
up.
just like in the Bible, some people were murderers, thieves, liars, and all kind of thing, and then they became disciples.
Yes.
And that's
People change.
that's the essence of life,
People change.
right? So your past does not necessarily just define you, unless you had known better and you still do the thing. And a lot of us know better, but for whatever reason we are still. So those persons, like, we would not be forgiven. You agree with that?
Yes.
But Greg, could it be that Hamilton, at the time of his what I would call primary focus of putting this new country together, the financing, the diplomacy, the structure of the government, could it be that that was the good side or the darling side of Hamilton, why persons are not minded to perhaps link him
To slavery.
to slavery?
Some people love him too much.
Well, that's what that.
And when I say love him too much, I mean it's the connection to him. I mean, and as I said, I mean, you see me going around really spending a lot of time with Alexander Hamilton, and I think certain things about Hamilton, certain positive things. But at the same time, my mind is completely open to present Hamilton in his true light based on the evidence that we see.
And then at the end of the day, because you're a preacher, right, Greg?
Sometimes I preach. I teach Bible class mostly rather than preach. But go ahead.
Okay, so you know certain things,
Yeah.
right? And you know that if you eventually get into the pearly gates on that great day, not that the book of records would not hold who you were before then,
Right.
but it will judge you on who you are
Yes.
when the time comes for you to enter the pearly gates. You agree with that?
Completely.
That's right.
So in that regard, that is the nature of life,
Yes.
right? So I'm not saying that we do not bring up who Hamilton was or who the other persons was who turned out to be abolitionists, and then you could help me with Paul and Saul,
Right.
right?
But
Yes.
So the charge is complicity in support of it. If later tonight, as we're leaving here, police come and they find you with 2 pounds of a certain vegetative substance, and you get hauled before
You know,
the judge.
if they find me with 2 pounds of a vegetative substance, it probably be carrots or something like that.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Okay, I just
But
wanted to know.
you take before the judge, and you tell the judge, "Well, judge, I do not use this thing."
Now that's what I will tell the judge.
Yes.
These carrots.
Yes, you do not use
And the
carrots.
evidence, the evidence will show that.
You do not use this thing. You purchase this thing because the other 4 people in this building with you, you did not want them to come to any harm, and you only purchase it for them. And your intention is really to destroy it.
Distribute it or destroy it?
Destroy it. He's going to destroy it. I'm not going to say what he's going to, but he's going to destroy it. When you're taken to court, you think the judge is going to simply say, "Well, Webbo, go home. You're free to go because you're complicit. You're only complicit in the illicit drug trade. You were not going to use it. You were trying to save these fine brothers. Are you just complicit? And because you're complicit, does it mean that you're not guilty? And that's what we have to reckon with. What's the difference, especially when you're looking at something as serious as slavery? Does complicity excuse you from guilt? And when we think about that, and we mention slavery, it cannot be that it remains just there, because we can say that slavery is in the past. Are things that we're doing now, decisions that we're making now, that we're complicit to? I mean, mark you, the effects of them might be 10 years from now when we say, well, that wasn't so good a decision. Should we be excused for simply being complicit?
Well,
I have to ask you guys.
Well,
I can't
Greg,
ask Webbo any questions.
Greg, you know that recently in the US there was a real life case just like that, where a father was found guilty, actually, of I believe he had purchased a gun, and his son would have gone into a school, and along the same line of thought, where the court generally felt that the father was complicit in allowing the son,
and he got convicted of murder.
So I think that the outcome of this trial, I am getting the sense that both gentlemen will be found guilty.
Well, I don't know, and both of them cannot be found guilty, because when the jury has to vote, the audience has to vote as the jury. They have to choose one or the other. And and
one or the other.
Yeah.
So both cannot be guilty.
The choice is who is more guilty. So it's one or the other.
So it's a similarity to Jesus and Barabbas.
Well, listen. Remember this. One of the ways, when in the first segment I said this, that history has already told us that they did these things. Their involvement or non-involvement in slavery, we know that they were there. Their scandalous behavior, we know that they were there. History already told us that they did these things. Their involvement in wars, history told us that they did these things. Their connection to Nevis, history already told us that they did these things. It's not a question as to whether or not they're actually guilty. The question is, who's more guilty? History will show that 5 of us were here. Who's guilty of having us here? Who won the players? You say it might come down to that. Yeah. We know that we were here, but who's most guilty? That's the question, and that's what I say. I mean, ultimately, this thing it brings some questions to the fore, and we as individuals viewing this play have to grapple with them on a very intellectual level.
Greg, let me ask a question. Is there, I know without you giving a full disclosure of what the play is all about, is there any segment of this play or this series where the altering of the course of history, so to speak, or the altering of the entire global sphere, the global direction in which it was headed before these two gentlemen came on the scene? Is there a chapter in this that deals with that aspects of their involvement on the global stage.
Okay, good. So we can't alter history.
I know that, yeah.
It's not a situation of revisionist history. An episode of that. What this really is an examination of history and a full interaction with history in relation to the direction globally. When you listen to the evidence, you'll realize that certain things these men did or did not do really have us here today.
Okay.
Nelson, in his capacity as a sailor, and Nelson could argue that, well, come on, I mean, involvement in wars, how can you charge me with that? I am a sailor. If the king say go over there and kill these people, I'm doing my duty. Hamilton could argue that, well, I'm a part of this country and you're trying to dominate me, I shouldn't fight. Should I just roll over and die? And you look at the Revolutionary War. If they did not fight, when you think about what would have happened if that didn't happen in history, where would we be? What would life be like?
Well, that's what I'm asking. If that aspect or the involvement of those kind of nuances will be brought out in the place of the
they're brought out. It's presented in such a way they are brought out in the minds of the people who are there.
Okay.
Remember, it's as real as it gets. That the outcome is dependent on the people and what the people say at the time.
And the recurring question which keeps coming to my mind as you are discussing it, therefore, and making your case, can a person put a defense of, were there necessary evils? Because you just asked the rhetorical question, maybe, Mr. Phillip, that Hamilton can argue. Well, I was so and so, it was necessary for me to do this. Nelson said, well, the king asked me to do this. Well, what do you want me to do?
Yes. I don't know if I like that necessary evil.
Well, okay. Let's replace evil. And necessary what? Let's rephrase it. Was it of necessity that it be done?
I'll say that Nelson might say that because Nelson is going to say, I'm a military man and my commander-in-chief has ordered me, so I did it.
Right. And then does he have a point?
He has a choice.
Yeah, but would his choice be based on his own intuition and his own conscience?
Well, let me take you back to the history which the whole existence depend on. In the Bible, where there was?
Yes.
In the Bible, did the mighty man instruct and cause one nation to win over another?
Who's the mighty man?
Oh.
The king?
No.
God?
Yes. Remember, you're a pastor, you know, so you got to walk with me. Did he said go, keep going?
Yeah.
And then when the other army came, what happened?
Yeah, there's a fight, and when we read the Old
walk with
Testament,
me.
go ahead.
Go ahead with the New Testament.
So when we read the Old Testament, we see that many times God has used people and armies to sometimes to punish others and to create certain outcomes.
Right, and the rest of civilization is built basically on that. In a Christian society, we make reference to that all the time. So the Lord uses methods
yes,
that people now might say you should not use.
But we're not God.
Oh, all right. But let me ask you this. Is it necessary as a pastor that you would bluff people?
No.
Okay. You know any place in the Bible where that was used?
What, bluffing?
Yes.
Of course.
Okay. No, we're not going to talk any further on that.
Okay.
Maybe on another program when we're discussing.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, you'll be back. You earned your right. You earned your right. Yes, Mr. Brand.
Webbo, I think that the attempt by, well, it's not an attempt, it's obviously a lot of hard work would have gone into the creation of what Mr. Phillip is.
By the way, can we wrap up because we have held over Mr. Phillip for much longer than we debated.
I thought you were staying here till 9.
No, well, if we can wrap up this segment and then we can just, you and Naya, whatever else you have to, put on the table quickly, we can do that. But we have to let Mr. Phillip go.
Okay, well, I just wanted to end by saying congratulations, of course, to Greg. I know, obviously, a lot of research would have gone into this, and I believe that based on what is being sought in terms of the outcome and to change the history, I believe that it's well grounded. I think that it's going to create some emotion, it's going to perhaps force people to do some deep introspection in terms of the history, where we are now, and some of the possibilities. And I look at these two gentlemen, as I said, certainly long gone, but I believe that the role that they would have played in history, we are still making reference to them even today. And I think that also would hold some, perhaps give us some perspective really as to what can be some of the possibilities. And I certainly want to wish you and your entire team all the very best. It appears to be something that is going to capture and captivate the hearts and mind of people, and I certainly want to wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Good, Mr. Phillip. I wanted to ask you one thing. This might be kind of off, but do you think if this play was held in England, what would be the outcome of the two gentlemen, or one, or what? As
in terms of the outcome of the trial?
Yes.
Well, if it was held in England, Naya, I am, in my mind, I want to say, we will find out.
Because it might end up in England.
I mean, the sky is the limit with this.
Yeah, because Webbo was talking about necessary evil, and yes, it holds some water. Maybe not in our society, but in other society, a society like England, probably. Because Lord Nelson, he was flexing in Nevis during the heart of the slave era.
Yeah,
and if he's been sent by the king, and we know the royal family has that great connection with slavery, and the whole fleets and the whole insurance, England was involved in slavery to a great extent, insuring and financing ships going to Africa in the circular flow of things, So yes, he's guilty. Because of that, he's seriously guilty, because the agent of the king who had their hands and feet involved in this, triangular trade.
But also, gentlemen, what you're going to find is that is how life is, because even in our contemporary times, people who have certain great achievements, sometimes there's a dark side in how they get to those great achievements. Right? And that is how basically life is. In sometimes, if you're able to get that degree of power, right? where you control everything and dictate everything. The people who are receiving the information and stuff like that, that's all they know. Until you find out, that is why in modern day societies, I don't believe them, but you will hear people say how politicians, for instance, are very corrupt. But I don't believe. Right? Because for the most part, they probably give the greatest speeches and have the best intent. Right? So that is the essence of what we're dealing with life. It's how it is.
But Greg, I want to congratulate you big time. I mean, you have stimulated a lot of healthy discussion, and I'm sure the inquisitive minds would definitely want to be a part of the audience.
Yes.
And you say that's Saturday night?
Saturday the 29th.
And the 29th. What time?
6 p.m. down at Malcolm Gishan.
How much you got to pay to come in?
It's $100 EC per person.
Okay, interesting.
But Webbo, since you kept me here with these good gentlemen, I am going to give them tickets, and Webbo, I leave permission with you for 2 tickets to you give it away to somebody who was listening to us in whatever way, shape or form. But Webbo, before I go,
so walk with me.
Okay.
You're gonna give the gentleman tickets.
Yes.
Mr. Brand, you could finish. Okay, Brand is
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Well, go for me.
I was thinking that perhaps the host as well can.
Wait, he's a gentleman.
But you said 2.
You said 2, so you perhaps you need to add another 4.
And then I have a technical. I don't understand.
the host as well. But
Yeah. No, walk with me.
Okay.
So you're gonna give me 2,
Uh-huh.
so I can give away to 2 people
As you see
in the audience,
As you see fit.
as I see fit. So 2 people, please call, so that Mr. Phillip will know that I give them away. 2 people, please call now. 469-1616 or 469-1700, so I can give 2 people 2 tickets, 1 each.
Webbo,
Yes, go ahead.
Before I go, I have to tell you about who the actors are.
Before you tell us who the actors are, I have an actor on the line.
Okay.
Let's see here. Hold on. Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
And who are you?
I'm Lynetta Manners.
Oh, can you turn your listening device down, whether it's your radio, computer, or what? You'll hear me on the phone.
Okay. Hold on.
You are Lynetta Manners. Okay, I'm with you now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and why did you call me?
Because I was listening.
You were listening?
Listening from the beginning, but I was listening.
Okay, and what?
And what? You said I must call right away.
Okay, and for what?
For the ticket.
Okay, well, just keep working with me, and because I just put down your name, you're gonna get the ticket free. You like free things?
Not really.
Okay, but you like this one.
Yes.
Okay, so come here tomorrow and get the ticket. Okay. And I did from what you heard, it interests you about
yeah,
the
very interested.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a nice evening. Okay, I have another caller was waiting. Please call back 469-1616 or 1700. Yeah, Greg, they're calling back. People like things, that's a nice.
Yeah, okay.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
And who are you?
Marva Daniel.
Can you speak a little clearer?
Marva Daniel.
Marva Daniel. Marva, could you turn down your listening device? You'll hear me through your phone.
Okay, I did.
Okay, very good. So, Marva, you called for the same reason, right?
Yes, for the ticket.
Okay, because you were listening.
I was.
And How you think it's going to be? Sounds like it's going to be good?
Exactly, very good.
Okay.
And very interesting program as well.
Oh, okay. So, okay. That was a little bribe I agree with you, so you'll get the ticket. So, Greg, you'll give me the tickets by tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, so Marva, you can come tomorrow here and get the ticket, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Herbert.
You're welcome, and thanks for listening. Okay, Greg, you're in trouble because more people calling. That's where you wanted to run. Anyway, go ahead.
More people calling. You can go online now, nevissuntours.com,
Yes.
and purchase tickets there.
Yeah, they
or
can
go
get
down by the Alexander Hamilton Museum tomorrow and get tickets there.
Right.
Very, very important. This is also about authenticity, display, and putting the vision talent on display. We have a lot of great actors here, and one of the things that I've told the cast from the start, that what we're putting on must be a world-class event. Every performance must be world-class. This is not just about the local audience. Travelers are gonna be there. Travelers are gonna show up and want to see this and the travelers who are showing up, these are people who are gonna be used to plays on the West End in England and on Broadway, etc. They should not come here and see anything less than what they would have gotten out there. After all, we have great talent to come from Nevis, like Hamilton.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us the cast?
Good. So, the first person you're gonna encounter from the cast and play is Maricia Claxton. Maricia plays the director of historical prosecutions. She's the one who kicks this whole thing off because she's the one in her role as director of historical prosecution who is really bringing the charges. And I say that director of historical prosecution is the equivalent in this court of history of the DPP. Then you're going to encounter Judge Wilfred Lilly, Justice Wilfred Lilly. That is the man himself, Stevenson Manners. And then you're going to encounter a lawyer called Mr. Michael Miller. That is played by Jervan Swanston himself. And then the next lawyer, and he's Michael Miller, Jervan Swanston. He is in fact Hamilton's advocate. He's Hamilton's lawyer. And then you also have on the other end the main lawyer for Nelson, which is Clayton Huggins. You might have seen Clayton in some of the movies, etc., that have been filmed here. But on Nelson's side, to argue the case on slavery, the judge would tell you that he's allowed special counsel. This is in the form of Shamika Huggins. She argues the case at the end, and she's playing Veronique Green. And we also have a bailiff. It's either going to be Dylan Knights or Devon Liebert. These folks are excellent in what they do, and they are growing so much into the roles. And one very important person who's holding this all together is also Esther. I'll call her Queen Nzenga, but let me give you a wait. Esther Brooks. Esther is the director. And Esther is making sure that everything stays the way it's supposed to be on stage with the actors, etc. But as I said, we're putting on a world-class performance, and it's presented by and involves a full local cast, because that's very, very important for an event such as this.
It will connect or reconnect people to their history.
Oh, for sure, and give you a chance to interact. And one of the important things is that the voting and how we're going to know exactly how it played out is that it's not a show of hands. You'll scan the QR code after each charge, and using your phone, you push the button and say whether it's Nelson you think is guilty or Hamilton is guilty, and immediately on stage, the director of historical prosecution and her assistant would know, and they would hand the verdict to the judge. So we use technology in this also. Modern day technology, even though it's a court.
Okay. Let me take this call. I don't have a ticket, but what do you think of the show? Hello, good evening.
Give away
Good
your
evening. I would just like to congratulate Mr. Greg Phillip on a job well done, bringing wealth of knowledge to us, because some of us don't know about these things, and congratulations to Greg.
Thank you very much. I hope I see you at the show.
Yes, I will.
Okay. Can I also say this to Webbo?
Yes.
You know, we've had 3 performances so far, and there are people who have shown up either all 3 times or multiple times. And I've encountered people who didn't get to come to the last one, and they say they want to know who won. Did Nelson lose this charge? Because it is as real as that. Whether or not the winner loses also comes down to whether or not the actors, as the lawyers, are on their game that night in presenting the arguments. So as I said, this is as real as it gets. And if you're not there, you're missing something.
And also, depending on the jury that night too.
It depends on the jury, but the jury listens to the arguments.
Right, but you may have a different jury.
Yeah.
Oh, every night there's
so
a different jury.
So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like a Calypso show.
Yes.
You have the Calypso show,
Uh-huh.
and Mr. Brand wins.
Yeah.
But were you to have different judges, same performance,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Now you might have won.
Yeah, and it's just like a cricket match. The ball, and you decide to leave that ball alone, but the pitch different.
Don't forget to do that sometimes. Don't forget to do that sometimes, Mr. Phillip.
Okay.
Well, you almost spent all the time.
Yes.
By the way, if you're listening, and I know you are, because the evidence just showed that, please call and let us know what you think. Mr. Phillip, he's, in my view, has done a great job with the play, and you know, let him know if you think they did a good job so far. Let him know. Call, and you don't have to give a whole speech. You know, you can do what the others did, but you though will have to get your ticket where, Mr. Phillip?
Either online at nevisontours.com, or you can go down to the Alexander Hamilton Museum and purchase tickets there, or you could do it also at Boju's.
Yeah, and I will suggest you purchase more than one ticket. Give somebody one, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're glad for that. And for this one, we're planning for probably about 200 seats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I based on how it's gone and the interest, I say, yeah, organize your ticket.
What's the duration of the event?
It's the entire trial from start to finish. We're going to be done within 1.5 to 2 hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't want not long enough.
No, it's not going to be long
That's
and drawn out.
Yeah.
No, at all. Would not be.
So this might be the light moment for the night. So it's not going to be held in Nevis?
Yes, it's held in Nevis, but it's a court of history.
Yeah, but you're not working with me.
And
You said it's not going to be long and drawn out. I told you this might be the light moment. You know.
Justice Lilly does not keeps a very strict court, and he's very strict with his time. So.
Okay. Finally, let's go with first, Mr. Brand.
Webbo, thank you, Webbo, for the invitation tonight, and I want to thank Greg and congratulate him again, of course, and the entire team. Webbo, I want to take this opportunity to invite the public to a public consultation that the Nevis Physical Planning and Environment will be having
Mr. Brand, we still have enough time. Let me take this call. Good evening. Thank you for holding.
Good evening, Mr. Herbert and all the others that are there this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
I just want to say congratulations to Mr. Phillip on a job well done. He did a very good job, and I just want to tell him thank you for giving me the opportunity to sit in and witness that play for myself. And I would encourage everybody else to go and witness it also.
All right.
Mr. Phillip, this is Dolores.
Thank
you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you very much, Dolores.
Could I ask a question? How did you vote?
I think
she's gone. Okay. Yeah, Mr. Brand, go ahead then.
Yeah, Webbo, I wanted to take this opportunity to invite the public to the public consultation that the Physical Planning and Environment is having this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the St. Paul's Anglican Church. This consultation has to do with the road naming and boundary delineation project that we have been working on. We held our first consultation at the Pond Hill Community Center on the 16th of July. And we are now having the second in a series of this public consultation. I think that this is an important engagement that we are having with the public, because our idea is to be able to name virtually all the streets on the island of Nevis and affix some names to them. We have done quite a bit of work. The planning department have done quite a bit of work, and they have done some consultation with some of the community organizations. They are now on the final stretch of this exercise, and we really want to get the final engagement of the public. So I'm extending an invitation to the public this Thursday at 6 p.m. at the St. Paul's Anglican Church Hall. And Greg, you are into tourism and sightseeing and so on. I know that this would be of some great value to you as well, because sometimes you go places and, you know, there is no name, and we are trying to make sure that we can fix that. So it's an invitation to the public. Like I said, Thursday evening, 6 p.m., St. Paul's Anglican Church, as we continue to engage the public as it relates to our road naming and boundary delineation project.
Is it also renaming too? Or just... When I say that, I mean, are you going to replace names? Or you'll just name those that are not named?
And
okay.
Those streets that have had some historical names, we will basically maintain those.
Okay.
I also, Webbo, want to use this opportunity.
And also, before you get off that, will it include labeling?
That will be the second phase.
The second phase. Okay, go ahead.
I also want to take this opportunity to offer some deep condolences, Webbo, to the Lawrence family on the loss of Carmen Lawrence, teacher Carmen, a member of our church, and certainly want to say to the family how saddened we are to know that she would have left us. And Teacher Auburn, you know, you are in our prayers, but Teacher Carmen Lawrence, we certainly want to offer our deep condolences to the entire family. Also, Webbo, to the family of one of our centenarians, Miss Leontine Clark, who would have been one of our honorees as she made 100, I believe it was 2 years ago. She also would have passed. I also want to take this opportunity to offer my condolences to that family. To the family of Tasha Clark, there in Coddockwood, Chris, and the entire family, you know, you are in our prayers. And also, Webbo, all those other families who are in mourning tonight. I know that it's a journey that all of us would have to take, but it's never easy, and I just thought that I wanted to place on record and show my solidarity and offer my condolences to all those families. Webbo, I want to thank you for the invitation tonight, and I also want to thank Greg for the very entertaining and interesting conversation. I'm happy to have been here tonight.
Conrad, Naya, finally.
I just want to say congratulations once again, Webbo, to Greg, and with this very important initiative. I think it's a gap that really needed to be filled here on Ireland, and especially, you know, going down that road of on a historical perspective and educational as well. and you know, tapping into our history and also, you know, highlighting modern circumstance. I think it's an excellent attempt, and I want to invite the public out to support the event on Saturday night, and going forward, Webb. I call you Webb.
Yeah,
Mr. Phillip. I don't know why. Going forward, I wish you success in your endeavors. You know, I find it's a very good thing for the island. It's quite inspiring.
And Greg, finally.
Finally, Webbo, I have to say thanks to my team at Navy Suntours, my wife Maureen, Yvette Jackman, and also Faith Bertie. These are the core team, and they take care of a lot of things that sometimes I have time to develop new things and put in the effort that is there. So I'm very, very much grateful and thankful to them, especially to Maureen, my wife.
You're a brave fellow. When you call names, how come you didn't call my name?
Well, I call everybody who is associated directly with the business.
It's just a light moment.
And I also have to say thank you to the host. Yes.
But I prefer the ticket.
You just gave them away to two ladies. I gave you 2 tickets, and you. Okay.
So
I hear the music.
So Greg, please come again. This sort of discussion is always necessary.
Okay.
Not just privately but publicly. Thank you all again for joining us. This program repeats tomorrow at 10 o'clock following the VON News Minute. Join the Honorable Mark Brantley tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock for On the Mark. Join Keith Scarborough on Thursday evening at 8 o'clock for Government at Work. Thank you all again for joining us. Your voice in the community taught and get results. You all have a wonderful evening.